No pre-session. Today's a continued meeting, and it's noticed for 5 o'clock.
Last session. Since this is a continued meeting, we will follow the agenda, which is several consent items, budget amendment, capital projects amendment, and pyrotechnic expert addition to the agenda. But the reason we're here today, ladies and gentlemen and commissioners, is to have a public hearing on the purchase authorizing the real property and buildings for economic development activities. We have Dr. Green, who's on a well-deserved personal vacation, on the phone. Dr. Green, can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So let's go ahead. We will not have public comment tonight. We will have comment on our public hearing portion of the meeting, which is about our proposed purchase of the Volvo plant, a $7 million purchase, and that's all we're going to hear tonight. At the end of this final part of the meeting, we will have announcements. And will we have a closed session tonight, Mr. Frew?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Board, pursuant to General Statute 143, 318.11A3, I'd like to discuss an attorney-client matter with this board. We anticipate no action other than any direction this board might give.
All right, sir. Now, is there a motion to follow the agenda as it's already been printed?
So move.
Second.
There's been a motion by Vice Chair Stanley, a second by Commissioner Peterson to follow the agenda as it's proposed. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Then we'll follow the budget, and that also means we've adopted the consent items. So the only item we have left is the public hearing on the resolution authorizing the purchase of real property and buildings for economic development. And I think Mr. Frew is going to explain the resolution for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This board has made it clear time and time again that one of its greatest commitments is to jobs and investment in this community to help get us out of this bad economic climate. Since last year, when the Volvo plant indicated that it would be closing its manufacturing facilities and moving out, we have heard and understand that there's been a number of outfits interested in that property. And the last thing I'm sure we want to see, rather than having new manufacturing facilities with a good number of high-paying jobs in the local sector, would be to see it leveled and have a strip mall or apartments put on the site. So as part of an economic development plan, what we would request the board to approve is this resolution. So by statute, counties are allowed to make appropriations to aid and encourage the location of manufacturing and industrial facilities in the county. And that's what we're proposing, is to acquire and hold for lease or resale the Volvo facility for the purchase price of $7 million. And if there's any questions at this point, you please feel free to ask. I will point out that we have undergone exhaustive due diligence on the property, indicating that it's a good site, it's a good facility, good buildings, good grounds. It's been used for this purpose as an industrial site for manufacturing by Volvo and its predecessors for over 25 years. We've had a property condition assessment done that indicates it's all in good shape. Environmental is in good shape. Our reports show that the property, given what it's been used for all these years, is in remarkably good condition, and also had a very detailed ALTA survey performed. And we would request that the board approve this action.
All righty. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Frew before we take public comment? Very good. We will call the public comment, the public hearing to order at 5:03. Anybody wish to have a public comment on this proposal to buy the Volvo plant for $7 million? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Landis? If you'll identify who you are, where you live, and you have 3 minutes.
I am Reverend Lisa Landis, and I live in Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. And I am questioning the purchase of when it's been stated that there isn't a whole lot of money, and I wonder what black hole this money to buy it would be coming out of. And when you're speaking of creating jobs, do you plan on certain jobs provided? It's like, how many buildings does the county own now, and where is the income coming from those? Is that a pattern that we should look at, or is this something new? And if this is purchased, will you also consider the public and the people and have a money set aside in order to have people start their own businesses and work in order to create more jobs? There seems to be some people who fall through the holes of your laws with the SBA, SBDC, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, my question is, are we truly looking out for the people, or is this just another feather in the cap? And do you have certain businesses that are already looking at this, and why would you be a go-between? I don't quite understand that. So that's just some of the things that are puzzling me in why you would spend $7 million on this property. Unless there are, as has been stated, people who are interested, and then I'm going back to, again, why would the county commissioners be the middleman? I don't quite understand. And as I said, if it is purchased, would you consider some money being set aside for people to start their own businesses and thereby creating more economic development for this area? Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Landis. Is there any other public? I think she's had some questions. Maybe we'll answer those at the end of the hearing. Any other public comment tonight on our proposed purchase of the Volvo plant? Mr. Rice?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I would certainly like to thank you, praise you for this great effort in bringing jobs here. I think we've given you enough tongue lashing for not doing it in the past. I think we've not been progressive enough in the past to bring jobs here of this nature if it is this big job, 400, 500 people. I would like to also know if this is tied in with Governor Bev Perdue and her statement regarding the Canadian company, and if this is what she's talking about in her dialogue today. And if it is, I'd like to know how the state is connected with this deal, because we haven't heard any discussion. The concerns that I have is sustainable jobs in Buncombe County. And is it going to bring a living wage and produce a benefit that will adequately provide for a family of 2, 4, and not have to have government assistance? And I'd like to know if this is a long-term investment to look for the future of jobs. And another thing that's concerning, if a company is so wealthy that they could operate a system this big, then my question is, why can they not provide their own money and do it on their own without government assistance? I think that's a big question. Now, providing jobs for our local people, I think that we need to look at these 400 jobs or whatever you're talking about that could be here in the future. How long are we going to hold this thing? It's going to be off the tax roll for a period of time, from my understanding. How much that is going to hit us as taxpayers. But particularly to the 400 or 500 people, if this is the people you're talking about, how many skilled workers are we talking about? How much money do they take home? Not the overall. How much of education requirement per job? and then what is the wide range of scale depending on the wage. Our concerns goes very deep because we have heard so much poverty that we've talked about in the past. Now we've got an opportunity, and I patrons and applaud you for doing such a good job of looking at this. But at the same time, I'm concerned about government being in too much and not really giving the private sector the opportunity to grow the businesses rather than government. And to me, I think we need to be there for them in troubled times, but at the same time, what are we doing as government? Are we doing too much, or are we not doing enough? We bought land up and things of that nature to preserve the pretty and the beauty for tourism, and we know that's jobs, but at the same time, it's not a living wage.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Rice. Any other public comment tonight? Ms. Sternberg?
Members of the Commission, my name is Jerry Sternberg. I reside in Buncombe County. I've been an industrial investor in Buncombe County for decades. First, let me say that the investment that you're making based on the valuation is an excellent one. I looked at this property some time ago with the idea of speculating on it for industrial development. I've been assured that there is an immediate customer for this building, whether it's a tenant or a buyer. It hasn't been said, and I want everyone should understand, because I've been through this before, there's so much that has to be kept in secrecy because these big plants insist on confidentiality. Otherwise, they don't come to see you, because if the word gets out there looking in your area, there's 10,000 people trying to sell them something, or the prices go up. So I understand why they don't want it that way, and the commissioners don't have a choice but to keep these things quiet. And certainly Mr. Bailey and his Economic Development Commission understand that and have done a wonderful job in bringing other industries in here. Now, I guess my caveats would be, one, if there is an element of speculation in this deal, I think it's a dangerous and precipitous cliff that you might fall over, because I looked at this property and it's my best estimate between taxes, maintenance, security, and all the other things that go with maintaining that huge 65-acre piece of property and 450,000 square feet of buildings could easily run $300,000 to $500,000 a year if it's sitting empty. Secondly, I would be very concerned if the county ended up with this thing by default somehow or other and had to break this up and start competing with the other empty industrial buildings we have in our community. That would mean that those of us who pay taxes are competing with ourselves. So I only wish to congratulate the commissioners on what I understand this deal is going to be, and it sounds like it's going to be the number one achievement in your period here in these 4 years, I believe, in economic development. So we want to thank you for all the effort that you've made.
Thank you, Ms. Sternberg. Any other comments tonight? All right, Mike, you want to address
I'll take a stab, Mr. Chairman. I think the only way I can think to reply to questions from Mr. Rice and Mr. Sternberger, that any time you make a business decision, you're taking some risk. And you know that. We understand that. There's no certainties in life. In this situation, we are simply...
you have more time.
Sit down. I rarely take 3 minutes,
the
but I need
requirement
just
for
a
our
little
county
bit more.
attorney.
But we are today we are simply acquiring this property to hold for potential lease or sale to a business industry, or like I said, there's been some interest before, and we just want to make sure we eliminate middlemen, eliminate the possibility that this building would be raised and used for other purposes other than good manufacturing jobs.
65.
And, as to looking down the road, I mean, whatever prospective person, company might come in, we've had a policy. Mr. Creighton's office put together a policy several years ago, and this commission has used it several times. You come in, a prospective business says, we're going to promise X number of jobs and X number of investments, and you just do the calculation and figure out how much it's worth to the community. And that's based on a return of investment. For the investment would be through property tax revenue, and the jobs and money, people get paid, people go to the grocery store, and there's sales tax revenue. So there's a benefit built into the process for the county.
Yeah, just to address one of the comments, Ms. Reverend Landis, it's not a loosey-goosey. We have a policy. It's very specific. They got to meet certain guidelines. On the back end, there's a check and balance to make sure they do what they're supposed to do for economic policies. And John, there have been times where we've approved economic policies in the past, and when they didn't do it, they didn't get their money. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and also in large agreements or incentive agreements, we always have what they call a callback policy where, if they don't fulfill those needs, then, on down the road, then there's a legal obligation for them to pay us back also.
So it's those are great questions and public comment. Anything else, Mr. Frew?
No, sir, the clawback was the only thing I was going to mention as well, but John took care of that.
Okay. It's 65.21 acres, more or less, 405,000 square feet of building space with all the improvements. Any other? I think we've got. I'll close the public comment session at 5:15. Is there any discussion among the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I move we pass the resolution and give the county mayor permission to buy the building.
Second.
There's been a motion by Vice Chair Stanley, a second by Commissioner Peterson. Is there any discussion of this resolution?
Well, I really think, Mr. Chairman, the title of the resolution says it all, and that is to authorize the purchase of real property and buildings for economic development activities. And I think that we hear time after time after time that it's our responsibility to be stewards or try to help the economic development activities here in Buncombe County, and I think this resolution addresses that.
Are any other comments? If not, all those in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The resolution is adopted 5-0. We have next our announcements, then we'll go into closed session. The next meeting of the board will be July 26th,
26th.
26.
2011, beginning, let's see here, beginning at 5 o'clock. No? Yeah, okay. The members of the commission will attend the annual chamber dinner June 30, beginning at 6 o'clock at Grove Park Inn. Some members of the board will attend the National Association of Counties annual conference in Multnomah County, Oregon. That's July 15 through 19. Our board will meet again July 26, beginning at 5. Commission meetings can be seen on BCTV Charter Cable 2 at Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m., Wednesday at 3 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. or anytime online at buncombecounty.org. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
There's been a motion by Commissioner Peterson, a second by Commissioner Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. We are in closed session. Thank you.
Would you like to stay on the line, or would you like to leave us?
I'm on the line.
Okay.